Ooh, still doing it. 11.
Oh, go ahead, Bob.
You hit it, Bob.
You're having trouble getting up his nerves.
Salmon on green. Salmon. I've been working on my bell ringing. Good afternoon, Cary Rotary Club. Welcome to the friendliest club in District 7710 and the most fashionable, looking out on this beautiful crowd. Yes. Can I call on our friend Bill Fletcher to please lead us in the prayer and the pledge? Bill?
Thank you, President. I ask you all to bow your heads in prayer. Lord, we thank you for this day, the opportunity to gather together and over the media, the Zoom, to fellowship, to be challenged by the Rotary concept, to enjoy each other's fellowship. We give you praise for the objectives of Rotary and how we choose to apply them in our lives. We lift up our elected leaders, Lord, to you today and ask your blessing and guidance and correction on them. And we thank you for the frontline workers who continue to battle this thing that's called COVID. And we ask your protection for each of us online and here. I ask you to bless this food and nourish our bodies, that we would be of greater service to you and to our community. And we give you praise for it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America, land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you, Bill. As always, thank you, Tim, for leading us off on the song. I'm starting to find the key. I don't know whether my voice is going up or down, but we're all starting to find our voice there. So thank you, everyone. I'd like to call on Tim Mannix to have a bite of chocolate cake and then introduce a guest with us today.
Yes, I have a guest with me. Patty, you want to stand over here? All right. This is PDG. Patty Rooney. He was a governor in Pennsylvania. He's moved up here to this area, and he's looking to try and pick a club. So this is selling day, guys, right? By the way, if any of you get a chance, come up and introduce yourself. You want to say a couple of words?
I was joking with Tim that I'm a preacher and a retired pastor together, so we can't talk briefly. But it's a great joy to be here. It's a pleasure. I'm from the York Club in Pennsylvania, South Central Pennsylvania. So my district was Harrisburg, Lancaster, York, Gettysburg, that area, down to the Maryland border. And it's a real pleasure and joy to be here today. And so I am looking for a club. I was told that the best club was the City Club downtown, because they had a lovely view, but I told Bob, this isn't bad. So thank you.
Thank you, Tim, and thank you, Patty, for joining us today. I will tell you that, you know, buildings are buildings, but nature is unique. And I'll tell you, we got some unique characters in our club as well. So, well, happy to have you join us. This is the part of the program where there's club business. I don't have any, except for I'm really excited about our program, which is all about club business. But I don't have any other announcements. Does anybody in the room or online have an announcement that they need to make in the interest of the club? Yes, Jim.
Don't forget the Cary barbecue on this coming Thursday night, 4 to 7. 4 to 7, and it's in the Rotary Pavilion, Ritter Park. If you haven't been there, it's a neat park. Yeah. Right in Lockyer. And Rotary Smell.
Rotary Shelter at the Ritter Park. That's right. And a little reminder that the Kildare Club sponsored a foursome in our golf tournament as well. So anything we can do to support them would be appreciated. I see we have our Sergeant at Arms scribbling furiously at the back of the room. Brian, can I call on you?
President Bob, it's so good to be here. I apologize I haven't been here since your induction. But you know what we always do at this time of year with our new president? Does anybody remember what we do? Right, remember what we do? Amnesty. And it's an option, because I don't know if past President Scott actually took us up. Maybe he knew it was coming down the pipe. I don't know. But we now offer that to you, President Bob, spelled forward and backwards the same way. For $20, you get a get out of jail free card for me for the rest of the year. How do you feel about that?
That feels like it's going to be a pretty good deal.
All right, good on the line. Would you like to pay now, or we can put you on a payment plan?
I think I'll pay now.
All right, wonderful.
Do I get to make an executive order
If it feels good to you.
that anyone else that wants to buy Amnesty for $20 today, see Brian?
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Good selling point there. I love that. Always looking for some money up front. Time value of money, right, man? It's always a good thing. It is always a good thing. So as I sit here and think about today and the wonderful group we've got gathered here, both in person and on Zoom there, I'm just wondering if I was going to give an award or a fine.
It won't be fine.
Wasn't John Briggsby had Botox? I'm just saying. I just don't see anything moving in his face there. John, could you smile? I don't see a wrinkle on your brow at all. I don't know. You know, folks, Jerry Miller used to get this award a lot, but we're gonna pass the baton over to somebody else now. Ernie, would you stand up? And folks, he's got something to be proud of. He can get the Sexy Leg Award today. Look at these beautiful legs. These shorts. And we got the Pride Award over here. This is not what you think you got. This is Pride and Family, but it's done in such a beautiful way in a drinking cup. Bruce has got his family members all around, just as proud as his family in the cup. It would be $1 there. But you know, at this table, we've got this Rose to be over here among all these thorns around her. She's just bringing this whole beautiful garden up. Well, standard, I can't even measure Charlie, but I can measure $1 for every one of the thorns. Just $1 for the thorns here. Right, so good to see you guys there. And, you know, and this is, remember there was Welcome Back Cotter, great show. Oh, Mr. Cotter, welcome back. And this one is Welcome Back Rod and Bill, because I think this is your first meeting since the pandemic. So welcome back. Let's put our hands together in person there.
This is the first time back in over a year. And I'm thinking of all the miracle moments and the fines that I've avoided that I have not paid for. So I'm going to go ahead and put in $20.
Hey! You know, and there's Gillette. We've used this before. The best, the main thing. The best, the main thing. But it's our past president. We don't have any amnesty whatsoever. We'll chip in and get him a razor and get that euthanasia time. The best the man can get. And Ralph, not last too long, because Christmas is long a little early. I'm just saying, shouldn't be just short. Didn't move that far quite yet.
We had to start with you.
That's right. And then as you think about our folks that were kind of scrapping in there a little bit, it was kind of funny. We had Al, we had Ben, we had Neil, we had Bill, we had Don, and then Anthony. So we didn't see him. And we're going to say, win place or show, win place, show. We got a whole bunch in there. So I named your name there. Thank you for being part of this great collection you got going on here, Charlotte. Do we have any miracle moments? Anybody wants to share a miracle moment? Wedding anniversary, a birthday, a birth, graduation. Oh, so sad. Let's take a shot at the remaining. Any miracle moments? Bill's got one over here.
I shared via Zoom some time ago about my son's father-in-law who had to have a heart transplant. And he had been living with an he'd been carrying a battery of oxygen around for more than a year, had about 15% function of his heart. He got a transplant. He is now back to work fully. He's an undertaker and he's a preacher. And he's the grandpa of some of my grandchildren, and I just give God praise for the medical professionals and for the healing that is him back in his doing as enjoyed. So thank you very much.
Oh, look at that. Love it. Forgive me because I had not been here in a few weeks here. Does anybody know what an amazing award that was presented to one of our members, Anthony Blackman? Has that been mentioned? So at the Cary Chamber Planning Conference, which was over at the Umstead, I guess about a week ago, many elected officials and many people present, Anthony was awarded the Order of the Long-Lived Pine, the Order of Long-Lived Pine. Something the governor does on a very rare case for those who are most deserving. I'm gonna pull $5 out of my pocket here as a contribution of thanks for all you've done, Anthony, over the years for this club, for our community, for the business community. You can name a whole lot of nonprofit organizations that wouldn't be as successful today if it weren't for what you have done because of your heart, your passion for this community, service of us. So thank you so much. Baby, wants to join me? Any other miracle moments? Timothy, just give me money.
Anybody with a miracle moment?
Brandon, yes, Brandon, I love it. Well, President Bob, that is all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for being here virtually. Look forward to seeing you in person sometime soon.
Thank you, Brian. And thank you and everyone for what looks like it's going to be our third largest fundraiser for the year. Our meeting, so well on our way to some of the goals Rod's going to tell us about here in the next moment. And I really am thrilled and humbled to introduce our program speaker today. It's so wonderful, Rod, to have you back in the room with us. The fact that Rod has not been in the room has not prevented him from doing monumental work in support of our club, from his contributions with the chili dinner last year, leading that group, as well as his work last year and continuing into this Rotary year around the club's strategic plan. In addition to that, he's been part of the executive group that Scott started last year and we're continuing this year, and has done fantastic things at helping to keep us organized and focused around work to be done. So I just want to publicly, Rod, thank you for everything that you do for our club. And I'd like to ask everyone to join me in welcoming our colleague and friend, Rod Brooks. Thank you.
Bob, I appreciate it. Boy, it is really great to be back, I have to say. I missed being in this room. I left early from home just to make sure I could find my way here again. and I did just fine. So yeah, it's great to be here. And quite frankly, I want to say I'm really excited to share with you all today our strategic planning effort and how that has evolved. And to be honest with you, I am the designated speaker. I mean, this has been a group effort. But Bob's going to share a slide here. Hopefully it gets a little bit bigger so you can see, but if not, I'll be talking through it. This strategic planning effort really has been underway for over 1.5 years now, initiated by past President Reggie Scales with the board. Everyone's involvement, you know, we started with in early 2020, most everybody filled out surveys giving your input, your feedback that was shared with the board. We've been through a few months. Well, let's go to the first slide if you don't mind. And so by the end of 2020, we had developed our strategic plan, and that accomplished a number of things for us. It gave us a great chance to take assessment of the club after, 50 years of history, and it provided us an opportunity to really look at the foundation that's been established here, which is a tremendous legacy, and to think about how we want to move forward, and really excited about that. And boy, that is really small that you can't read a thing. So I'm going to just share a little bit. So in 2020, we completed our initial strategic plan by December. Now we've had 6 months to actually kind of operate from that. And so Q3 and Q4 of the previous Rotary year was all about implementing, working towards that plan. Now, most recently, July 10th, the board got together again, and we assessed what we accomplished against the plan in the first 6 months. And we made some tweaks and modifications, and we, not a huge amount changed, but we did establish new goals then for this year and priorities for even this quarter. And that's where we are. So I'm happy to be sharing with you the new plan as it's been involved with our goals for this year. I'll also be sharing a bit of our progress report, how we sort of did over the first 6 months against our plan. And you can expect, I don't know if they'll be in a full presentation, but you can expect some quarterly updates going forward through email and what have you. So we'll be talking about our progress. But again, I want to just first of all acknowledge that this really has been a collaborative process. And let me ask Bob to speak just a minute to that.
Well, and it strikes me as I look at this slide that there are a lot of talented individuals that have gone into the composition of this plan representing you as the club members. Also looks like a few folks have had more recent photos taken on DAC TV than others. I just want to commend your board for their diligence and commitment to the planning process. This reaches all the way back to January of 2020, when Reggie Scales brought together the then current board to work out the framework for the strategic plan. And then Scott, through his leadership a year ago, really helped bring that initial work to an actionable state. And so it's been very important that we have collaboration in defining what this plan is. It's not the board's plan, it's the club's plan. And so the board has really worked hard to make sure that it's representative of what you would like to have accomplished. But I also encourage you individually. There'll be options later that Rod talks about. Part of what we're doing today is making sure that you're aware of what we think our priorities need to be, so that you can have input and give us feedback around this plan as we move forward. But I do want to thank the board for all their work on a Saturday morning in July.
Indeed. And for the great input. So let's before we look forward, let's take a brief look in the rearview mirror, look at our accomplishments over Q3 and Q4 of the last Rotary year. Again, way too small to see, so I won't test your eyesight with that. I'm going to just mention a few of the things that we'd established as both measurables and goals. First of all, of course, membership has been a key measurable, if you will, that we looked at. And when we think about the challenges that we faced last year, it's remarkable that we ended the year with right at 99 members. So that was down slightly from the 102 that we started with, or excuse me, our goal was 102 members. We ended at 99. 75 active members, 17 active R85 members, 3 active members who were on current leave of absence, and 4 honorary members. We welcomed 4 new members last year. Shana Filter, Raj Ganesh, Kevin Peach, and Gail Cabrera, who have already been tremendous new additions to our club and are really contributing already. But get this, when I look at that, the main thing you need to look at when you look at these measurables is how much green there is. We set some stretch goals and we really achieved and exceeded them, again, despite the challenges faced with COVID. Over 200 members participated in service, that is service activities. So we exceeded that goal. We had folks attending our district conference, our district training assemblies. We raised close to $20,000 in annual fund contributions, which is really remarkable. Close to $2,000 pledged for Polio Plus, which is great for our club again. We conducted 4 service projects last year. Our golf, our cheer mail project, the Cary tree decoration, our day of service. Remember, that was a first for the district. All that accomplished and much of it done remotely again, I think is really remarkable. We had 4 social activities. Again, who remembers the trivia night? It was a great evening, and there was just fun. We also had a number of strategic goals for the year. Again, look at the green that was accomplished there. So one of those goals was to adopt a multi-year strategic plan. We completed that with great input from the club, and grateful for that. Establishing a structure then to support that plan. That is something that, as you'll see, continues to be a work in progress, but we made great headway in moving that forward. And I'll be covering that more in a minute. We did a lot to ensure our effective organizational governance. We actually revised our bylaws. We had a great succession plan and process in place. We developed a standard operating procedures manual, believe it or not, for our club after all these years. So that if we all got hit by a bus, the club would continue to operate. Just kidding. We executed our 2 fundraising activities last year, the golf tournament and chili dinner, and those were very successful. The only thing we really didn't get to is telling our story. So we weren't as active on social media. We weren't as active in the media and the press, and that's something that we want to really focus on. So I'll be talking more about that in a minute. But when we think about last year, not to mention the complete pivot that we did to respond to COVID and able to keep our members engaged remotely through activities and through our meetings, et cetera. I think it was a really successful year, and that we really finished in a strong place. So now as we look forward, again, what we've created is a strategic plan that looks forward 3 years. And it starts at a very high level with our vision page. By the way, for those that, just as a reminder, our strategic plan is not a 60-page document that is you're going to put on a shelf and it's going to gather dust. Our strategic plan is a 2-page front and back document. The first page is our vision, and it speaks first of all to our core values. Who are we as Rotarians? And it's important to look at this because when we're talking about our core values, it's really about who we are, and it's a matter of we want to be able to share this. And we know, every week we share our core values as we recite the 4-way test. We also talk about service above self. Even Brian just mentioned that in acknowledging Anthony. These are important things to share about Rotary that are unique to our organization as a global organization. So we captured that in our vision statement. We also captured our core focus. So our core focus as an organization, Rotary International's vision statement is: together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities and in ourselves. That to me is an inspiring statement. And that is what we are a part of among 1.4 million, Tim, Rotarians around the world.
About
1.3. All right. But that is a remarkable statement. And so when we talk about what Rotary is, we can share that. We also, it's important as we look at our vision over the next 3 years, it was important to us that we align what we're doing as a club with what Rotary International is doing as a global organization, with what our district is doing within our district. And so with that, our 5-year target is that our club strategic plan shall align with and support Rotary International's 5-year action plan, which has 4 priorities. First is to increase our impact. And I'll be talking about that in a moment. We have some very definite plans to increase our impact. Second is to expand our reach. Third is to enhance participant engagement. And fourth is to increase our ability to adapt. And so, boy, I think we've demonstrated all 4 of those priorities over the past 6 months, and you'll see it continuing to go forward in our strategic plan going forward. Another piece that our vision statement speaks to is our marketing strategy. Whoever thought that we as a Rotary Club would be talking about a marketing strategy? But, because we don't think about marketing ourselves, but look, we're up to some big things and we want to let people know what we're up to. And by doing that effectively, we get folks engaged. And that's what we're about. So I love the elements of this marketing strategy because it speaks to, first of all, who are we and who are we sort of attracting here? This says the Rotary Club of Cary shall endeavor to engage as members, individuals committed to service above self, who exemplify our core values, who represent and reflect our diverse community, and who will strive to achieve the club's goals, objectives, and programmatic impact areas through the application of their volunteer time, their skills, and their financial resources. So those are the people that we're attracting. And as we read that statement, we see ourselves in that. And there's certainly opportunity for others to be engaged. Now, what's unique about Rotary though, right? Why would people want to be a member of a Rotary Club as opposed to any other type of club they could be a part of? Well, think about this. Number one is we have the Rotary International Foundation with total assets of $1.26 billion. It's the primary vehicle through which Rotarians fund development projects around the world. That is our foundation. We have a resource of $1.26 billion behind what we're doing that we have a direct voice in directing. That's pretty exciting. Second is the Rotary Club of Cary provides members the opportunity to make a difference through social impact projects in our community and around the world in a way that far exceeds one's ability to do so individually. Why did I join a Rotary? Why did I join this club more than 15 years ago? It's because I recognized that we could do a lot more together than anything that I could do individually. And I think we really worked hard to empower one another, and we're doing that, both locally in our community and internationally around the world. And thirdly, Rotary membership affords members a host of personal and professional awards. So connection with members in the community, the opportunity to give back. Believe it or not, if you haven't been online, there's a Rotary Global Rewards program, but you've got access to all kinds of discounts and stuff. I mean, check out the Rotary International website and see what's available to us. And I would just say the support of club members. And I will tell you that, especially for me, and I know I speak for many others, that over the past year, your support has meant a lot. Just knowing that I'm a part of this club and the opportunity to connect with you all every week, for the past year has meant a lot to me. So that's, we don't hand this out as a brochure to prospective members, but this does, I think, capture what it is to be a Rotarian and why it makes sense for people to get involved and join us. And so we wanted to share that, and that does, of course, inform our what we do communicate through our social media and other channels. But just wanted to share that and kind of take a step back and remind us of what Rotary is really all about. Now, as we go a little bit further here in our vision statement, we also roll out a 3-year picture of our club. By June 30th of 2024, we want to be at roughly 110 members. So to go from 99 members to 110 members is not a tremendous increase, although it will include recruiting more than 10 members because there's a natural kind of attrition each year. But the point is that we do want to continue to focus on growing our membership and engage more and more folks in what we're doing. It's about a 2.5% annual net growth of members. We want to see at least 80% of active members engaged in our programs and what we're doing. And I think that's an easy number for us to hit. As engaged as our club members are, 100% of every year, every Rotarian annual contribution to the Rotary International Foundation. That RI Foundation is ours to help fund the impact that we want to create. It's also our responsibility to help build that fund and make it the vehicle that it is. We anticipate in 3 years club revenue of a little over $100,000 that we raise through our membership dues, our sustaining contributions to the RI Foundation, and to fund our scholarship contributions. But you know what? The money that we raise through that is also leveraged. If you think about the way that, for example, funds that we've raised in the past to fund a chili dinner, a meal packaging event with Rise Against Hunger, that has leveraged additional contributions to help support our efforts that other groups have made to us. And so the funds that we raise, we think we can leverage an additional $150,000 to match what we're doing. That's exciting. And then we've identified, and I think an important part of this 3-year picture is we made a strategic decision last year to really define what we wanted to focus on. You know, if you try to boil the ocean, you don't get very far. But if you can focus your efforts, you can have greater impact. And so where have we focused our efforts? The first is on education and literacy as a primary key impact area. The second is hunger. And again, with all of these, we've got a tremendous legacy of already what we've done in these areas that we're building on. And the third is economic empowerment. And in just a few minutes, you're going to hear Howard Manning talking about our steps there, because that is perhaps the newest of the areas that we focused on. Those 3 areas, education, literacy, hunger, and economic empowerment, are the 3 sort of key focus areas. There are activities that we'll do as in addition to that, where we focus on housing, affordable housing, where we focus on the environment, where we focus on seniors, and around water. So our projects support those initiatives as well. And John Halata did us a great favor as we were going through the strategic planning process. He went through and categorized, you know, all the programs that we do, from the chili dinner to the golf tournament to the scholarships, et cetera, and lined them up, you know, matched them with these areas. And we're really hitting all of these areas. And it's exciting to see the impact that we're having in those. But that's important for you to know, because again, our goal is to try to focus our efforts so we can have greater impact going forward. So that's the broad sort of 3-year vision for the organization. Let's talk about the 1-year plan, right? So if that's what 3 years looks like, let's talk about what our club looks like with 1 year. Now, on the first, so this is the 1-year vision is sort of captured here in this traction page. It's the second page of the strat plan. And there's some key measurables listed here. I'm not going to review all of them, but I'll describe some of the categories. So we've got key measurables. Because remember, this is not just about creating a vision here. This is about holding ourselves accountable too. So we have some key measurables here that include, oh, sorry, back one time. Sorry, I spoke too soon. So we have some key measurables here. Actually, yeah, let's go for it, actually. So let me just say that as we developed our 1-year plan, again, we met July 10th, the board and some other folks. And we, first of all, said, you know, where are we? So we looked at what we had accomplished in our 6-month period. And then we said, what do we still have to work on? And one of the things I appreciate about the conversation we had was just how candid and open and kind of critically we looked at ourselves, and we identified some key issues that we feel like we need to work on going forward. One of those is the diversity of club membership in terms of gender and race and age and vocation. How we recognize how important it is to be active in recruitment of new members and welcoming as a Rotary club. So that was an issue. Member engagement and re-engagement, recognizing that it's been a little over a year for many of us, you know, who haven't been here in person, and that was a real challenge. And so we recognize that as we now, you know, things begin to change and evolve, it's an opportunity for us to re-engage and engage members. I already mentioned as a third issue, our marketing plan. We recognize that we have an opportunity to tell our story a little more effectively, a little more broadly, both internally and externally. So we've identified our marketing plan as a key issue. We also see, and the fourth one here is strategically engaging the community. You know, this club has such a tremendous legacy of leadership in this community. And when you look around even this room and online, you see the connections that we have with the community. We want to build on those so that our club can continue to be even more effective at meeting community needs. So we want to be able to strengthen the relationships that we have with the chamber, with area nonprofits, and with even city council and other organizations. Fifthly, we also want to make sure that the linkage between our club and our Cary Rotary Club Charitable Foundation, our foundation, just remains really strong. You know, we have a great opportunity through aligning our efforts to make sure that we not only put time and energy behind these priorities, but also money through directing funds from our charitable foundation for our club. And that's just a great opportunity. We also, of course, want to continue to manage the organization's funds effectively, report, increase transparency, make sure that we're collected on dues and all that sort of thing. So we've identified that. We also are looking to enhance our processes around data collection so that we can report against these more effectively. And finally, we recognize, as I alluded to, that there's an opportunity for us all to take better advantage of the resources that we have available electronically through Rotary International. That includes the myrotary.org as well as the district Stack TV. So those are a bunch of issues that we kind of identified as opportunities for us. Then we said, well, what do we do? Where do we want to focus? And again, with our one-year plan, there are a number of measurables here. We look at membership. By the end of this year, we want to be at 100 members or above. We actually implemented a new sort of metric here. And I'll just tell you that this is going to be a stretch goal for us. Typically on any given day, weekly, or one of our weekly meetings, typically we'll have about 50% of our club members attending and present. We'd like to get that to 65%. We'd like to get that engagement up to about 65% on average on a weekly basis. Not that we couldn't do more, but that's what we want to do. Now that's going to take us all being intentional about that. And it's also going to take us reaching out to many of those club members who have not been here in a while, either online or in person. And so we're going to be trying to report against that. And hopefully everyone can help us achieve that goal. Our goal this year is to sponsor 8 new members. Again, something that we all have an opportunity to support. The most powerful story you can share is why you're a member of this club and what difference it's made for you. There are other examples of measurables here that include our engagement. Again, over 220 member activities. That's going to take all of us participating in our activities like the golf tournament coming up and the chili dinner later on and the cheer mail project and the memory cafe. It's going to take all of us participating in those activities to hit that number. Our goal is more than $15,000 contributed towards the annual fund for the Rotary International Foundation. Again, that's going to take us all contributing, plus another $2,000, same as last year, for our Folio Plus contribution. So you'll be hearing more about that. So those are some of the measurables there that we've identified. I think as important as those measurables, which in a way are kind of a reflection of our engagement, are some of the strategic goals that we have for the year. And I just want to touch on those briefly. One is to raise $50,000 to support the key impact areas around hunger, education, literacy, and economic empowerment. We're going to do that through our golf tournament, through our chili dinner. It's going to take us creating some other funds to get to that goal. But that's our goal, is $50,000. So our second goal, and it's very much a strategic one, is to create and execute a plan to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that means really strategically engaging with our community. And so Mary Cam is going to be heavily involved in that. She's president of the E-Club for Social Justice. And we're looking for folks to share their ideas. We're all looking to learn. And so that is an initiative that we've identified as a goal. Third goal is to conduct what we're calling our project called Member Reengage, and that is to retain 95%, at least 95% of our members. So we'll be looking at metrics like engagement and our dues and that sort of thing. But the key thing is, again, reaching out to folks and engaging them in the activities of our clubs and supporting those activities ourselves. Fourth is the advancing the economic empowerment key impact area. You know, when you think about it, when you look at those other examples of hunger, education, literacy, we kind of have the structure in place to support those activities. But when we wanted to focus on economic empowerment, we needed to enhance that. And Howard Manning is online with us via Zoom. And Bob, I'm not sure exactly what we need to do, turn my mic off and turn Howard's on, but Howard has agreed to chair this effort. And so Howard's going to speak just briefly about what this economic empowerment activity will look like.
Thank you, Rod.
Hang on, Howard. Bear with us for just 1 second. There we go.
Can you mute my phone, Rod?
Go. Okay. Well, again, thank you again, Rod. Economic empowerment. There is no such thing as a silver bullet. But I'm going to start by quoting two people, one of whom you have probably never heard of and one whom many of you have. There's a lady in my church named Miss Ruth. And I remember we were talking one Sunday and the preacher was reminding us that money is not the answer to all our problems. And Miss Ruth was quick to speak up and she said, it might not be the answer, but it sure makes going through them a whole lot easier. Ted Abernathy is, economic forecaster, speaks a lot about chamber events. And at the same one where my good friend Anthony got his longleaf pine designation, I had the opportunity to ask Anthony what he thought about the wealth gap. And his answer was pretty quick. And he said, what we have to do is raise the bottom tier. We have to enlarge the safety nets and raise the bottom tier. And the only way to do that is through economic empowerment. I don't know if you realize it or not, but Raleigh and Charlotte are two of the areas in the nation that have the least resources for mobility. So the Rotary Club of Cary, I'm proud to be a part of. Seeing economic empowerment has been an answer to some of those problems. If we can empower people to make their own monies or increase their earning potentials, think about the relief that you can get from hunger, from housing, lack of housing, a lack of health care, a lot of other symptoms that we have because we need to break some of these cycles. So as Rod has said, we are very much in the formative stages now. I'd like for you to contact me if you're interested in helping us design what our program might look like and what metrics that we might set up to measure our progress. So I won't take much of your time, but just like to remind you again that there's no silver bullet, but economic empowerment can be a start to creating a firm foundation to solving many of those problems. I can make my email and my phone number available via social media or however it needs to be. So thank you again so much, Rod. And I think that's all I had.
Well, Howard, thank you for that description. And thank you for leading that effort. Really appreciate that. And let me just say that, this economic empowerment initiative that we have, I think is one of the ways in which our club can make one of the greatest differences in our community ever. So there's a lot. So please, if you have an interest in that, reach out to Howard or to me, and we'll be glad to give you more information. I'm just going to conclude because I've got about a minute left. A couple of other goals beyond what I've outlined: conducting a strategic recruitment campaign, and finally executing a PR, marketing, social media campaign. All of which, if you have an interest in participating, reach out. I'm sharing these goals that the board has identified because they all represent opportunities for us to be engaged. And so we welcome your interest, we welcome your questions and your thoughts. Things like our economic empowerment initiative are very much in the formative stage. So there's an opportunity for everyone who's interested to be involved at the ground floor to move these things forward. So with that, we have just a couple of minutes here. If you have questions or immediate feedback, please feel free to ask. Jim?
I would propose that we have a third fundraiser, which is our bell ringing. Because we raised, what, $20,000? 80% of the club participates. We stand out in the cold and ring the bell.
Yep.
So it's to me, it's important what we do as the golf and chili dinner in terms of doing good in the world.
Absolutely. Great suggestion. I noted that. Thank you, Jim.
Rob,
I'm sorry.
go ahead. We had the disadvantage of not having a local newspaper. Did y'all talk about how we're going to sell? You said you're talking about telling our story. How are we going to tell our story? We can't get anything in print.
It's a challenge. And to be honest with you, that's why we're putting together a small group of folks to really focus on that. We've not had a real precise marketing plan for the club per se, but so far, Eric Schmidt, Scott Gardner, and others have expressed interest in helping us figure that out. I think there's opportunity because we're doing great stuff.
Yeah.
And the more people know about it, the more likely they are to join us.
One more question.
Great work on this. I think it's something the club has needed for a long time. My concern and my question will be, how do we hold successive boards accountable for making sure that we follow through on this plan? I've seen so many good ideas arise, and we pursue them for a while, and they kind of drop on the wayside. Any thought or discussion about that?
That's a great question. Well, first of all, speaking as your president-elect, I can guarantee you focus on this for 2 years. But we did, we did a lot of work this year on, on our succession planning, and I can tell you, Camille was very engaged July 10th with us, and is part of this plan too. So I suspect that we're going to continue to be focused here, and the plan is going to change and evolve, of course, as we learn more and do more. We'll need to evolve, but I think there's commitment to this going forward. Thank you, Ben.
Excellent. What a great presentation, Ron. Thank you so much. I looked at this over the past year leading up to today. What is so great is for us to be able to get the support of all of our membership and to get behind this, because at the end of the day, Rod's right, it is a living document, but it's only going to go as far with everybody's commitment. I mean, we've got to support it, we got to understand it, and this is going to help us, no doubt about it. Rod has been at the top of the list since day one when we started this process, and it was his leadership, it was his knowledge really that helped us get to this point. We've all done strategic plans before that have been 60 pages, right? So relate back to that. This is a 2-page document. It's very easy to understand. It's very easy to support. Lastly, as Rod has already asked, feedback is critical. And whether it's good feedback or constructive feedback, whatever it is, that's going to help us function at a very high level as we look forward. And so, Rod, appreciate all the effort you give and you provided to the board and to all our members, because it truly is going to make a difference for us this year. And so, on behalf of the club, I'm so excited to be able to present to you. We found a new way to put Jerry's stationery for 2022. So, not really. This is the club would like to present this to you. It says, "Thank you for sharing your knowledge and valuable time with our club." And so, Rod, thank you for all you do, and appreciate your time today, and can't wait to support all of our efforts going forward.
I'll echo my thanks to Rod and to the entire board. And to your point, Ben, the board's accountable to you as members. And so the way that makes sure we stay focused on this, we want to be transparent about what we think we want to accomplish. Hold us accountable. We invite that. So thank you, Rod, for your willingness to share on behalf of the board. All right, well, as we wrap up, I want to recognize, as we do, some important dates, some fun dates. I'll share with you first, it's amazing that for the second week in a row, we don't have anybody in the club celebrating birthday, which is really rare when you think about it, to go 1/26th of a year without having anybody in a group of 100 with a birthday. But we do have some other key anniversaries. If you see Sean Charbrook, wish he and his wife Nikki a happy wedding anniversary. August 8th. It says here 25 years. Charlie Konigsberg, who's online with us. Charlie, had been, there he is. Charlie is celebrating his 6th anniversary with the Cary Rotary Club. And like Bill Zidek a couple of weeks ago, he's got a history of 30 more years. I'm sorry, yes, 30 more years on top of that 6. So congratulations, Charlie, and thank you for all your contributions. Next week's program, we have our district governor, Angela Bendorf Jameson, will join us. She is a high energy person, so buckle your seatbelts for a great presentation. I'm really looking forward. I'm so proud of this club. And so it'll be wonderful to invite her to join us next week. Area Governor Patrick Gallagher will be here to introduce her as well. In 2 weeks, Pat Hudson has made arrangements for Charles Taylor, a key contributor to the founding of the ACC network, to share with us some behind the scenes. So those of us with a little bit of a sporting flair will certainly enjoy that. And anybody who lives in North Carolina is influenced by the ACC. Next week's meal, I overlooked it. Correct, 2 weeks in a row. Schedule next week is meatloaf over mashed potatoes and carrots. So bring your pillows, we'll have nap time after lunch. All right, and so with that, I want to thank you again, Rod, for your presentation. Congratulations, Anthony, on the great honor that you received, and you honor our club through your membership. So thank you and congratulations. Thank you, Patty, for joining us today. It's wonderful to have you here at the friendliest club in District 77. And so I'll ask Pat Hudson if she'll close us out with a 4-way test.
The 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Well, you're